Good morning once again. Welcome back to Silver Lining Blog. This morning I'm gonna say something about how to learn English faster with 7 scientific tips. Number 1 is to listen to a lot of English. What the science says, scientists who study languages have a special term for one of the ways we learn languages, unconscious or implicit language learning. This kind of language learning happens when we are not even trying. It doesn't happen by sitting at a desk and studying rules over and over. Instead, it happens when we listen to a lot of English and when we are not paying a lot of attention. The sound of English is in the background and your brain automatically absorbs the sounds, accents, words, and grammar, even though you are not listening well, speaking, or taking notes. Well, the crazy thing is that we learn from listening even if we do not understand what the words mean. Study after study shows that it is possible for people to learn any language by listening this way. We can even learn fake languages, ones that the scientists invent for their research, just by listening to people speaking for you. That is because when we listen to the language, we hear the patterns. It is a more natural way to learn. Kids to do it all the time. Think about it. What you can do. Listen to as much as English as you can. Listen constantly. Whenever you can. Make sure that you have something in English playing in your room, in your office, or in your headphones. When I was in college, I used to watch uh, English movies. By the time I re, by the time I am reciting inside the class, I can speak English fluently. Now, you can also go to places where you can learn English speakers talk to each other. You can have your friends who are pretty much good in English. And of course, especially you have to watch English TV, listen to English music, and listen to the audiobooks in English. You do not have to listen closely while you are listening. You can just walk around, enjoy the sights, do the dishes, read a book, work out at a gym, do your homework, write an essay, or do your daily job. No matter what, as long as the sounds of English are entering your ears and your brain, you will learn a lot more in English than you realize. Number 2, learn the similarities. What the science says, one of the hardest things about learning a new language is learning all the new sounds. The English language might even have some sounds that your language never uses. There's a good news too. According to this study, we are all born with understanding of which sounds make sense and which do not. Even though languages can be very different, they all share some similarities. For example, when you do some English words begin with the letter BL or blink, you will probably never hear a word begin with the letters LB. Try to make that sound, it is weird. Some sounds just do not make sense, even to everyone who do not know any words at all. Now what you can do is that keep this fact in mind when you are learning English. If you hear a word or a sound that seems impossible, there is a chance that is impossible. If you know that some sounds are very unlikely to happen in the English language, you can learn to spell more easily. For example, if you're trying to write the word ghost and you are not sure if the H comes before or after the G, try saying it out loud. If you try to say ghost, the sound is G, seems impossible to pronounce, doesn't it? But the sound GH in ghost is possible. Now you should use that. Learn new sounds separately. What the science says is that learning English changes the way your brain works. Amazingly, learning a new language actually makes your brain grow. One study discovered that as we learn a language, parts of your brain grow bigger. The bigger the growth, the easier the new language will be for you to learn. An even more interesting part of the experiment in this study showed that our brains react differently to different sounds. So you don't need any special software to slow down sounds. YouTube can do that for you. Find some videos of native speakers. When I say native speakers, these are the people came from Western countries whose English is their primary language. Now, use words association or use word associations. I repeat, what the science says about this. When you use word associations, you are connecting words with other words or sounds, movements, ideas, or pictures. When you hear the sound wolf, you associate it with connect it with a dog. When you see a picture of of a sun, you immediately think of the words sun, warm and hot. You don't have to spend any time thinking of this. These words comes to your mind automatically. Learning words through association is not only fun, it is a very useful way to speed up your English learning. Scientists use this study to look at sign language, a language that deaf people to communicate and which uses the hands and fingers instead of sounds to make words. An experiment showed that it is much easier to remember signs that look like the word they stand for. This means that it is easier to remember the sign language for the word eat because it looks like a person eating. It is harder to learn words when the motion of your hands is not connected to the idea as stronger. Now, what you can do is when you are learning new words, try to learn them in groups. Combine a word with an image or a movement or another word. When you have this strong connection in your mind, you will have an easier time remembering it. Remembering patterns, not rules. You might have spent some time already learning the rules of grammar and spelling in English. Instead of thinking of them as rules, try to remember the patterns. Now, learn phrases, not words. What the science says, some words have one meaning on their own, but a completely different meaning when they are put together with other words. As we listen to or read a sentence in English, we look for these groups. For example, in the sentence, I ran around, you are saying that you run without a goal. If you add just two words, it turns into I run around the park, which has a completely different meaning. You learn more and more information about the sentence and the words in it as you listen. Phrases is much important than words. This might not seem so surprising, but until recently, linguists, people who study languages, thought that we listen to a whole sentence and then break it down into parts. One study also explains that the order of the words might be even more important than the whole sentence. Think about it this way: bread and butter and bread have the same meaning, but the only one has the right order of words: bread and butter. Now, what you can do is that learning words on their own can be difficult since many words have more than one meaning. Just knowing a word does not mean you'll be able to actually use it. So, when you learn new words, learn how they are used in phrases, sentences, and conversation. Learn with music. What the science says, do you remember the cute songs you learned when you were very young? I bet you can still sing the songs your mother or your teachers taught you. But you learned the songs a very long time ago. How can you still remember them so well? When you are a child, music is very important for language learning. That is why children have songs that help them remember numbers and letters. learn how vowels work, and learn new words, songs, repetition, and music to help kids remember important parts of language, especially English songs. Well, I'm not saying that you don't need to listen the Tagalog songs, but English songs is very important if you want to learn more English. The adult learners can feel easier to with music. Language skills are usually seen as very important, and music is not as important. But according to one study, the way we learn both music and language are very, very similar and are both very important. What you can do is that language is almost a kind of music of its own. Learning language skills by using music makes learning easier and faster. There are many songs for learning English, many of which you can find on YouTube or right here on the fluent. Listen to the songs and sing along to them, and you will be speaking like a native speaker. There are no real shortcuts for learning English quickly, but science has proven that some tips work better and faster than others. According to scientific studies and experiments, the tips above will help you learn English better and faster. And as you learn and grow, your English will become better and better and better. So thank you for listening to my video. If you like my video, please click subscribe.